Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Southern Utah University Grad and Online New Student Orientation. My name is Tad Brinkerhoff. I'm the Associate Vice President for Grad and Online Programs, and we're so glad you're here joining us today. Our goal today is to give you an overview of what to expect as a graduate student. We're excited to have some of our staff and our faculty member, Dr. David Hatch, here with us today as well, to really introduce you to Southern Utah University and the experience that you're going to have and welcome you to our online community. First of all, I want to say, as an alum of SUU, you belong here. SUU is a special place. And one thing that I think that one of the reasons I chose SUU was because of the personalized approach. You will not just be a number. You will be someone that belongs and that someone that will be the focus of faculty and the educational experience. And so our goal here today is to help you start that journey. Um, and I think you'll get a great experience into the online program at SUU. So thank you for joining us. Um, here's our here is our agenda for today. We're first going to hear from Dr. David Hatch. He's going to be talking about succeeding as an online graduate student. And then we'll hear from Amanda Lee, who is a student success advisor and also finishing her MBA. And she's going to be talking about some of the technical sides of being a graduate student using Canvas and learning technologies. And then um, we'll have Seth from our advising department, who leads our advising group, talking about academic support and student wellness. And then I'll talk for a few minutes about career management, professional growth. Career management is something I'm very passionate about. And then we've got Mary Cannon, who's someone who recently graduated from an online program, and she's going to be talking about her experience as an alum and give you some advice on how to be successful in the online programs. And then we'll wrap up and we'll be done. So, um, all right, let's go to Dr. Hatch.
Right. I love the idea of that you belong here. When I started my PhD program, I remember going to my first class, and my wife and I had moved our 1-year-old daughter clear across the country. We burned our ships. We sold everything we had and went to grad school. And I remember sitting in that first class, and I came home after a couple of class meetings, and I said to Melissa, I don't think this is the right place for me. Everybody seems so smart and so prepared. About 6 weeks later, I was like, these people are idiots. It just took me, which is not very charitable, but it just took me a little while to realize that I did belong there. I was selling myself short and I was being hard on myself. I was prepared to be there. I just needed to get used to it. And so there is a certain culture in graduate school that it's important to sort of get used to that. I did another master's degree. I didn't need one, but I went and got another master's degree in addition to my PhD a little while ago. And when I walked in at 50 years old and all these 25-year-olds pulled out their sexy little computers and I had my notebook, I went, oh, you know that scene in Indiana Jones where the guy drinks from the wrong cup and he gets all old and goes and dies? I felt like that. I got old in that very minute. But I realized that I belonged there too, because even though I had a PhD and I was coming back and everybody seemed a lot younger and hipper and more techy than me, um, I became a valuable member of that community and I learned a lot from other people that were different than me. So there's a couple of pieces, very practical pieces of advice I would like to give you. One is that in graduate school, you're a junior colleague, which means you're treated differently than an undergraduate student. You're expected um, to carry a little bit more of the load on your own. And so I would recommend to you that, and you might always be a junior colleague for some reason. I still can't call my dissertation director Stan. He's going to be Dr. Gontarski forever, even though it's been 20 something years. But your professors want you to get curious about about your studies. And so I would recommend that you try to cultivate the idea of being a self-starter, that you get curious about what you're studying, and you try to show that you know what you're doing. So there's a reason that in grad school we only count A grades and B grades. Everything else beyond that doesn't count towards your degree because we expect you to measure up. And so demonstrating that you're interested, getting curious about things, being a self-starter is really important. The other thing I would suggest is try to cultivate a relationship with your professors a little bit. As a junior colleague, we're going to treat you a little different than an undergraduate. We want to hear what you have to say. We're going to treat you like adults, which is not really the nicest way to think about undergraduates, but it's just a different way of we see you more as partners in graduate school. So I love to. One thing that I'm impressed with, I've been at SUU for 4 years. I came up here from the University of South Carolina, and one thing SUU does really well is that student-oriented function that Tad was talking about. Um, in our program, for example, our interdisciplinary program, students tailor their degree. So there's a lot of people are going a lot of different directions. They're combining different concentrations, business and online teaching, or animal welfare and nonprofit. And so we spend a lot of time working with our students kind of one-on-one to chat about their projects and talk about their ideas. And I spend a lot of my time during the week in a Zoom meeting with students. And I love it when somebody just emails me or calls me and says, "Hey, have you got a few minutes? I have an idea I want to talk to you about." I don't see it as a pain in the neck. I don't see it as a bad use of my time. I am thrilled that that student wants to work with me to try to create a successful project. So think of yourself as a junior partner and act that way. And with that in mind, I want to give you a magic phrase. You should write this down. If for some reason you don't do very well on an assignment, and I learned this in my most recent master's degree program, so I was already had a PhD for 15, 18 years. I realized I hadn't done well on something, and it probably was I didn't understand it very well. Something didn't go well. And so I said to my professor, "I don't feel like this represents my best work. Could I redo this?" And you know what the answer to that is? Yes, you can. They love it when you show that kind of drive, when you show that kind of grit, when you show that you want to learn the material, not just get a grade. And so I'll repeat that phrase again for those of you who are taking notes, which you should, because if you're just listening, you're not learning, you're just being entertained. The phrase is, "I don't feel like this represents my best work. Could I redo this?" And most of the time, your professors will, because it shows that you really want to know. So be a self-starter, cultivate your relationships with your professors as much as you can, get curious, and then use that magic phrase if you need to redo something. So you do belong here, and graduate school can be a big change. It's a little bit more responsibility. It's a little bit more hands-off as far as what we expect from you. But if you'll just show up in uniform and do your best, just try to, get engaged as much as you can. I think you'll find that you will slip into that culture very quickly. And maybe in 6 weeks you'll say, "Oh, the rest of these people are idiots." That's not a very nice way to think about it. But you'll feel like you fit right in, and you'll feel successful, and you'll hit the ground running. So that's my ideas. Thanks.
Do- Dr. Hedgkett, thank you for that. I want to follow up. How do you, like, I think most of our students are working professionals. What's your advice on balancing all the demands of life along with being in school and doing it online?
Right. So most of our students in our program are returning students or non-traditional students. Most of them have jobs or family or church and community responsibilities or, volunteer things that they're doing. People are busy, right? I would say that probably the best strategy is to familiarize yourself with when the big projects are due. So we're talking about time management. And don't I sometimes lie to myself and say, "Well, I will get this done on Friday." I will save up the time and get this done on Friday before it's due. But it's hard to do that. So I would if you have modules that open up, most of our modules are 1 week, sometimes two. If the module opens up on Monday, get to your stuff on Monday. Jump into it quickly. Try to get something done so that you're making progress. And then for those bigger projects, make sure that they're on your calendar so that you have you can set the time aside early. It'll make it so your work is much more successful because the ideas will have a chance to brew. If you start it on Monday and it's not due till Friday and you work on it a little bit as you go, it's going to be so much better than putting it together quickly on Friday. It also eliminates a lot of stress, and you don't need more of that if you're a busy working adult with all those things that I mentioned. So I would jump on it early, try to get some things done early in the week, and then schedule your time throughout. So time management is the thing that I would say. The other thing is sometimes things do come up. And since you are a junior colleague, like I was saying, professors can often give you time. And as much as we admire the grit of someone who says, can I redo this? We also respect the fact that our working adult graduate students, or just busy people, sometimes something comes up. And so if somebody says to me, I need a little more time to do this, I am generally inclined to say yes. But you have to treat it like a job. You ask courteously and in advance. I imagine if you were working and there was a project that you knew you weren't going to get done and you just didn't do it and then came in 2 days later and said, "Hey, can I do this? It's late." Your boss would say, "Oh yeah, you're here. Your stuff's over there in a box on the desk. Hit the bricks. You're done." But if you said to her, "I'm concerned about getting this done," she would probably say one of three things. Let's get you some help. Let's get you some more time, or you need to stay up late and finish that because we've got a big client. So one of those three things. But either way, there's the politeness, the courteousness of speaking to someone in advance, and most of the time, I give students more time. It's not a big deal. So
Okay,
I would say time management.
that's super helpful. Okay, one more question for you. AI. You're a professor.
Yeah.
AI's new, fairly new. What's your advice on using AI appropriately in the classroom? Now, I know it's going to vary from class to class and professor to
Sure.
professor, but from a professorial standpoint, what's your advice on using AI appropriately?
Well, especially for graduate students, you should be more about getting the knowledge than the grade. The grade represents your hard work, but knowledge is what you want. So I think it was Mark Twain who said, "Education is one of the few things that people will pay for and not get." So if you are using generative, there's two different kinds of AI, right? There's generative AI and assistive AI. I would say if you're using generative AI to do your writing and thinking for you, it's unethical and it's a mistake. And I think most of the professors will have a policy in there about that you shouldn't do that. But that's generative AI. That's the machine doing the work for you. Now, assistive AI, if you're having it, you can have it check the logic of your paper once it's complete. You can, my wife, who's a professor over in the library, they do some teaching about using it to help you brainstorm ideas before you start a project. And then you can certainly have it do the mechanics. I assure you, as a lifelong English professor, if I never have to teach mechanics classes because people, that are using like Grammarly to just check their use of commas, that's not going to break my heart. But that's not the ideas. That is polish. So I would say you are on thin ice ethically if you're using generative AI to do your work, but also you're selling yourself short because you're not going to have the knowledge. And we should be in a position with a graduate degree when whenever that knowledge is, those tools come to our hand as easily as an old hammer that we've used a bunch and we know how to use it and it just slips into our hand easily. If the computer's doing the work for you, you are denying yourself the opportunity to gather that knowledge.
Yeah, good point. All right, thank you, Dr. Hatch.
Thank you.
Any questions for Dr. Hatch? Anybody want to ask him? You can take yourself off mute, or you can throw something in the chat. Okay. If you have Dr. Hatch in your program, you'll be fortunate. He's great, but he's like a lot of other professors. They're here for students. So
Thanks.
okay, thanks, Dr. Hatch. All right, next, let me get the slides. Next, we've got Amanda Lee, who's a student success advisor. So, Amanda, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and give us some thoughts on Canvas and some other tools to be successful.
Perfect. Yeah. So, guys, my name's Amanda Lee. Yeah, I'm a student success advisor here at SUU now. I did graduate with my business management and marketing degree from SUU as well, and then I just started my MBA. I see some of you guys are in the MSN MBA program. I do advise for your programs. You can come to me if you have any questions. But yeah, I'm just going to be going over some Canvas orientation, kind of walking you through how it is being a student online. Dad, if you'll just hit the next slide.
Is that it?
Now, oh, this one, perfect. So, oh, perfect. So yeah, you're just gonna go into Google, Chrome, Safari, whatever you use, and in there you're just gonna type in that URL, which is suu.edu. And then you're gonna click on the My SUU button that's right at the top of that picture. That's gonna take you straight to the next one. So just click the next slide. Perfect. So this is going to bring you to the MySUU portal. This has a lot of really great links, a lot of good resources. Some of the most used links are like degree works. That's going to bring up any classes that you have. If you're wondering why you're taking the class, you can go in and check there. How much longer you have in your degree plans. My academic details is nice. There's a GPA calculator in there, so if you want to put in um, what grade you think you might get in a class and see what your GPA will be. Permission to add course form. If you're having a hard time getting into a class, you can always add it there. And a lot of other great resources are on here as well. But the most used one is going to be Canvas. You just click on that icon to find your classes and anything like that. So perfect. Once you get into Canvas, all your courses are going to be located here. Sometimes there'll be some other modules like SUU Essential Student Trainings. You might have that one, Canvas Resources, and then you'll have your classes typically. If you can't see your classes on here, you'll go into the My Courses. You can click All Courses as well. There's a little link in there, and click the star. It'll bring them up to your dashboard. If you want stuff off of your dashboard, you just unclick the star again, and it'll take them back off. So yeah, so then once you click into here, it'll take you to the next page. And this is going to be where your home page is. Oh my gosh, I totally mixed these up. Anyways, just disregard that. But anyways, you can look at your syllabus here. This is going to have your office online hours for the professor. The professors are required to have office hours where they can meet with students and help you with anything that you need help with. This is a really great time to meet with your professor, get to know with your professor, or ask him any questions that you might have. And if you click the next page.
Oh, Amanda, what about teaching assistants?
Yeah, typically they're located in here as well. The syllabus does have, or a lot of the master's programs do have coaches. My coaches have all been really great. They've helped me a lot. I'll just send them like a little message in the inbox if I have any questions that I need to send them. They also do a lot of the grading, so if you have any questions on why you're getting graded a certain way, you can always ask your coach as well. So.
So the coach's information would be here in this section.
This professor that I have right now, she just doesn't have a coach. So
Gotcha.
that's why. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
hmm So then it'll also show you the grade scheme and how it's broken down. Every professor's syllabus is different. They're all they have relatively the same things, but they're a little bit different. This is just how my professor's is this semester. So I'm just using mine as an example. And then it also has course materials as well. So if you need any books for the course or any materials or anything like that, they're located in there as well. And then, yeah, the grade scheme on how things are going to be graded out.
Okay.
Yeah, so then if you click on the modules button, it's going to bring you to this page right here. Typically, the modules are broken down into like modules/weeks. This one has 7 modules because this class is 7 weeks. Some courses in the master's program are 14, some of them are 7. It just kind of depends. But this is, for this class at least, is everything that I have to do within a week. So it's the introduction discussion and the module 1 quiz. And then it gives you the dates on the next week as well. So then it's the same thing. Every once in a while, there might be a bigger paper in there, or sometimes an exam. It just kind of depends on the class and the professor.
Okay.
So this is grades. These are my grades. Woo! Just kidding. But anyways, this is the grades button. This is my favorite page, probably next to the calendar button. I don't know why, but in the last slide it cut off the modules. You can see on here that there's modules located on there. That's what I was clicking on the last slide. I don't know why it got cut off. I'll have to fix that. But yeah, so this is the grades page. In here, it'll show you all your grades that have been graded. And then you can perform what if audits. So on the next slide that you haven't seen yet, I did put a 190 into the professional proposal group paper. So if I'm worried that I might have not done as well as I thought, or I kind of want to see what my grade will be, every once in a while, if you don't want to take the final exam, you just check, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so this is a good place to put in what you think you might get. I use what if grades all the time. So if you click the next slide. So I put in 190 so you can input your grade and believe that you believe you'll receive, and then you find out how it affects your overall grade, which I think is a cool tool. I enjoy it. I like double checking, making sure that I'm going to be okay in a class, especially when it's a tougher class. Yeah, so then this is the, over on the left-hand side, that's groups. So if you have any group projects or if you have to discuss within a group in discussion posts, you can go click on the groups icon and that'll bring you to discussion group 5. So if you have a group discussion that semester, I had a group project this semester. So that's where I found my group. Inbox, and then if you click compose, you can select a course and it'll either bring up professor or students. If you click on students, it'll bring up everyone in your class. So that's how I got in contact with my group. If you click professor, it'll bring up your professor and then sometimes your coach if you have a coach as well. So this is a good tool as well.
Amanda, what advice do you have for working in teams? I mean, not all classes will have you work in teams, but how have you seen it work successfully for you in terms of meeting, finding times to work together, dividing up work? Any advice there on working in teams?
Yeah, I think over time throughout the MBA program, I've gotten a lot better and more proactive in working in the groups. So me and my group probably started messaging each other around group or around week 2. I sent them all a message in Canvas and just said, "Hey guys, I'm really bad at checking my Canvas messages. Can we just do it over text?" Then everyone inputted their phone numbers. We made a group chat over phone number, which made things a lot easier. In there, everyone kind of like introduced themselves, said who they were. And then as the class went on, this class kind of built into a group project, so we had to wait a little bit longer to do the group project. But we all just shared each other on a Google Doc. So we just shared, had a Google Doc, and then we just went through and assigned everyone, okay, you're going to do introduction paragraph, you're going to do 2 body paragraphs, you're going to do these 3 paragraphs. Or some classes it's been, you're going to do these 2 Google slides and you're going to talk for 2 minutes and you need to time yourself. And then normally we'll all meet up at the very end, right before it's due. This time around, we did have a girl in our group who she was in Washington, D.C. for her job, and she was like, I have absolutely no time to meet. Like, can I just get assigned something? We're like, yeah, of course. So we ended up finishing the paper, and then we just had her go through and proofread everything, which ended up helping in the long run, which was nice. If your group is really easy to work with and very responsive, honestly, group projects are fun because you get to know each other, and everyone else is in like a different profession, especially in the MBA program, and I'm sure other programs as well. I'm just speaking from MBA because I'm in it. But everyone's doing something completely different, so it's nice to find out what they do for work and kind of explore different career options. So I've actually enjoyed group projects a lot, and I've had the same groups in multiple classes now. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's great. Yeah, and I will add to that. One thing I found that as I've seen over the years, work well is when you first meet with your team, you set up a team constitution. What are the rules of engagement for the team? When, how will you choose to meet? How will you choose to do assignments? And that can solve a lot of problems that might pop up later. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Let's pause for just a moment to see anybody has any questions. I know we're not done with Canvas, but are there any questions up to this point people would like to ask, either in the chat or take yourself off mute? Okay. All right, we'll go to the next slide then.
And then this is the last slide. This is just the calendar icon that's on Canvas. It just shows you when all of your assignments are due for the month. On the right-hand side, sorry I didn't put it in here, there's also upcoming assignments that are on there as well. So it just gives you a little bit of a heads up, and then past due assignments at the top as well. So this is really good. This is my favorite page because it cures my OCD and it crosses it off as soon as I'm done, which makes me feel really accomplished. So I like this page a lot, but every student's different. Everyone uses Canvas differently. So, but these are some basic tools.
Okay. Amanda, what are those green? I see the Maverick Corp and the Centus launch. Tell us about those.
Yeah, so those are different. So because I'm coded as SUU main campus and because I was like a business student, those are different meetings on campus where they're doing lunches with different career connections. So that's what those are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about careers in a minute, but you also you're someone that you could contact about career options and stay in touch with them so that you could have access to those kinds of events as well. Potentially if you're close to the area or there are some things that happen virtually. So, all right. Is that it, Amanda?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Any questions for Amanda? Amanda, what should someone do if they're confused by Canvas or need any additional help?
All of us advisors, we do have a Canvas walkthrough orientation video. If you ever need it, you can email me. It's amandalee5@su.edu, and I can send that over to you. Or if you want to schedule a meeting with me, and I can walk you through it as well. There is like a help button at the bottom of this page. You can click there. If Canvas is ever down, there's a Canvas support number as well. Also, when you're first a student at SUU, you have to authorize your account. If you have any problems, you can call into IT. If you ever need their number, you can also contact me. So,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. Thank you, Amanda. We appreciate it. All right, let's move on to Seth, our who oversees our online advisement.
Amanda is a tough act to follow. She's one of our advisors, and as you can tell, we strive to pull in the best talent that we can to be student success advisors for your programs. You can see the level of experience that she's had, and as Dr. Hatch mentioned, we're all a group of working professionals, right? And so, as you're coming in as a student, you need help from an advisor. That advisor you rely on to have experience and to have answers. And I'd like to say that we've done a pretty good job of putting together a system and a team to support you and guide you through your program. If we could go to the next slide.
Oh, Seth, before we do that, we did get a question. Do you get a notice when to authorize your account? I guess that's kind of a fallback to Amanda. Kaylee asked that question.
Yeah, sorry, I was gonna answer in the chat real quick, but this is easier. So, typically it needs you to authorize your account the first time you log in, and it can take up to 24 hours. So I definitely wouldn't do it the first on the like 23rd if you're starting on this next session or right before you start. I probably would do it today. Typically your username is your first and last name, unless you're like me and there's 5 Amanda Lees that went to SUU. Then there's Amanda Lee 5. So, but yeah, if you ever have any problems, just call IT. But it will, the first time you log in, have you authorize it, and it takes like 24 hours. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, Seth, let me get on here. There you go.
Excellent. So we're looking at, can we go back one slide?
Is that the right one?
Yep, that's the one. And this won't be news to anybody, especially as graduate students. I'm sure through your journey so far in education, you've had academic advising there to support you. I want to explain kind of how our advising team is set up a little bit differently. We have what's called Express Advising, which is a team of about 7 to 8 peer success advisors that we have trained to be at the ready for any immediate needs that a student might have. If something pops up, they're a great resource to call, especially if it's a question that you feel is a frequently asked question. If they ever encounter anything that is beyond their level of expertise, they work very closely with advisors like Amanda to connect you with the correct answer. So you can reach out to them Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 via email or over the phone. and they're a great resource. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware of that express advising tool. Our more traditional advising comes through advising appointments, where you can set up time to discuss um, your specialized needs pertaining to anything that requires a little bit more in-depth discussion with a student success advisor like Amanda. And so those can be set up in advance. But if you ever do have an emergency situation that you're trying to work through, definitely stop first with the express advising team. If they don't have the answer, we've trained them very well on how to track that down for you. So this is our two-tier model of advising that really helps make sure that there are advising appointment slots available when you need them, and a team ready for anything else that pops up in between those appointments. I do encourage you to meet with your advisor if you haven't yet. We have an event type called Meet Your Advisor, where you get to know a little bit about your advisor's background, but more importantly, they get to know more about you and what your goals are and what you're striving to achieve. And if you give them that time, I promise you it'll be worth it, that they'll be able to make sure that's time well spent. We can go to the next slide. As far as help in the classroom, academic support, you got to make sure that you use your resources, you're paying for them. So I wanted to make sure to bring those to your attention. We do have a career center here at SUU that's set up to help you either launch into a new career field, or, and for many of the case of students in the graduate programs, you're looking to advance yourself in your current field. They're well equipped to do that for you. We also have a tutoring center if you find that you need any assistance in your subjects and on an assignment on any given week. You can do drop-in times or schedule out recurring sessions with the tutoring center. As far as help with your papers, and I encourage you, if you haven't been attending school in a while, to utilize the Graduate Writing Center right off the bat. It'll help you really gauge where you are in writing your papers at the graduate level. And their staff is fantastic at helping you through every step of the process. So you want to come in with an idea that in the direction that you want to go. And I encourage you to come in with a rough draft, and you'll be amazed at the tips and suggestions that they give you to help improve your papers. I suggest you do it on your first paper, because you don't want to turn in your first paper and find out that you need the resource. So it's much better to plan ahead and get some time in and get familiar with that resource ahead of time. And then, of course, the library access. You have access to all the research materials and search engines that are specific to our library here on campus. So those are, go ahead.
And I'm just going to say, like with the library, students sometimes are amazed that you can get access to the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. Most periodicals are there for free, or financial modeling tools, or other kinds of tools that you would have to pay a lot of money for outside of the university. So even for your job, make sure and use those tools at the library. You do have librarians that would be able to assist you. So if you have any, like, I can't find access to, I want to start a company and I want to know about all the competitors that exist in the state of California, they can help you dig into that kind of research. So make sure and use the librarians as well as the free tools that you'll have while you're a student. Okay.
Exactly. I'm going to put into the chat now a link to a hub that I want you all to save. And so it is our mental health resources page at SUU. Would it be all right, Tad, if I were to share and navigate on this page?
Sure. How do I do that?
I just think I need to share screen.
Oh, I'll do that. Yep. There you go.
Perfect. All right. So this hub, and hopefully you guys all have that now. Can you see it on your end?
Yes.
Oh, it is coming through. Okay, perfect. So the student mental health resources is another resource that your student fees are paying for. And so it's really important to know how to utilize these resources. The one that's going to impact you, especially if you are a remote student, if you're not living here in the state of Utah, or I should say, even if you're not living here in Cedar City, is timely care. And that's 24 hour, 7 day a week support. And you'll notice that they have color coding on this webpage, red being more urgent needs, yellow, and then green for more maintenance. This web page will make sure that you have access to all your resources. Timely care, like I said, being the big one, that is licensed professionals that you can set up times with and speak with. You'll also have access to pure wellness coaching through Trula. And the great thing about these resources is that they're all free. If you are in Cedar City, we do have more face-to-face options through CAPS and through here it is down here at the bottom. Through CAPS and through our community counseling and assessment clinic. So just make sure that you have this information logged. For timely care, the thing that I encourage is that you go through and you create a profile today or tonight if you have time. And that'll make sure that with the profile in place, if you ever find yourself in need of assistance, that you could just go ahead and set it up with a single click. It's great. It has a bunch of different options to pick from if you need individual counseling, health coaching, or if you're in a crisis. So I want to make sure that everybody has access to that. Yeah, save that link. Go ahead and click on the timely care and set up your profile, and that'll make sure that you have quick access to that resource. Maybe we can go back to the slideshow.
Okay. Is that it, Seth?
Yeah, unless anybody has further questions.
Okay. I'm going to talk a bit about career support. I know that you're investing time and money so that you see a return on your investment as a graduate student. And so just a couple of suggestions. We have recently launched what we call Friday Career Connections. It's every Friday at noon on Zoom. And we bring in professionals from all different fields to talk about career growth. This is not only a chance to learn from individuals that are experts in their field, but also to network with them. And every single guest we've had have invited people to connect with them on LinkedIn. I'm a huge proponent of spending 10 minutes a day on LinkedIn. So I would encourage you as you start your graduate studies to make sure your LinkedIn profile is up to date and that you spend time connecting with your professors, connecting with the people on Friday Career Connections, with all of us, and the SUU community in general. Because one thing I think you'll find, not only you'll gain knowledge, but also you'll gain a network through your graduate studies that will really make a difference, as the studies have shown, in your career growth. So update your LinkedIn profile, spend 10 minutes a day, come to Career Connections, connect with all those people that speak, and you'll be on your way to a successful career post-graduation. I did want to quickly share the information about the Career Center. Seth briefly touched on that. Brandon Street, if you can see him in the middle, he is the one who works with our experienced students. So he would be the one you would want to reach out to and just have a conversation about where you want to take your career. Talk to him about resources and then create a plan. And ChatGPT is great to help you with that, but I think Brandon can connect you with resources at the university. He's been doing career development a long time, and he'll be a great first place to start. I'm also happy to meet with you if you have career questions. I'm not the career expert, but I've spent a lot of time in higher education and have connections. Amanda can tell you, we've had lots of conversations about her career goals and targets, and we've connected her with some people that are going to help her on her journey. So We're all here to help you. I would start with Brandon as you start that career journey. I would say I wouldn't wait until you graduate. I would, get used to the classwork, but I would not put off developing that career plan until you graduate. Career planning is something you should do consistently across during your career, and I would start that career planning process within a month or two of of starting your graduate studies. I will also encourage you to have conversations with your professors. So, I mean, like a Dr. Hatch would be great. If you're in music technology, Kit Chatham, who is a former drummer, a musician with Cirque du Soleil. I mean, he's got amazing resources in the field. So make sure you talk to your professors. They not only know a lot, but they also know a lot of people. And I will tell you that networking piece is going to be vital in developing the career that you want to have. So, any questions on career? Does everyone know what they want to do? Okay. David says no. Dr. Hatch says no. And it's okay if you don't know exactly what you want to do. Start having those conversations with Brandon, with alumni, with professors, and you'll figure it out. So, okay. With that, if there are not any questions, we're excited to have Mary Cannon, who's an alum. She got her MPA here at SUU. She actually worked at SUU, and now she's working at the University of Utah. So, Mary, tell us about your experience as an online student at SUU, getting your graduate degree. What were the things that helped you be successful? What advice do you have for managing time, planning your career, making friends, making time for social activities online? We'll love to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction. I love SUU. I got my undergraduate there as well, so I have had quite the experience and wonderful experience at SUU. Their resources and getting my graduate degree fully online, which I will admit was pretty daunting. I went right from my undergraduate into my graduate degree. I was feeling quite nervous about that and feeling quite nervous about being fully online, having never done that before. But I truly had an amazing experience. Um, Kind of to reiterate some of the things that have already been said, but I think they're so important that I just want to say them again. I might be a little bit biased because I was an academic advisor, but please, like truly, meeting with your academic advisor is so, so important. Even if you feel like you've got a hang of things and you know what you're doing, it doesn't hurt to schedule, one meeting a semester to make sure you're taking the right courses, you're on track. And I love SU because there are so, so many resources that you don't even know that you need. So meeting with your advisor and asking them questions or clicking on buttons to see what is available to you, highly recommend. That was one of the first things I did. I went into my SU portal and literally clicked on every link and went, "Ooh, I didn't know I had that." Um, so I think, yeah, meeting with your advisor to make sure that you're aligned with your goals and finishing when you want, not taking extra credits. Um, so meet with your advisor for sure. Um, as mentioned, SU has so many resources. Truly take advantage of them. Like with the career center, like you said, Todd, with you might not know what you want to do. I was pretty locked in my undergrad thinking I wanted to be a therapist, and I thought, why not stop by the career center? I took a strong interest inventory. I think it costs like $15. And a career like specialist advisor goes through this test with you. It's like 200 questions, but it took me 20 minutes. Um, and it surprised me with the answer that it gave me. It told me I should be an office manager when I was pretty certain I was going to be a clinical psychologist. And here I am working at the University of Utah as an administrative assistant, and I love it. It's just not something I'd considered before going to the Career Center. Um, I do think it's super important. With being an online student, it's easy to feel isolated and away and disconnected. So it's important to make connections with your fellow peers. I was very nervous just because I knew a lot of my classmates were well into their careers. They were already working as public administrators, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I wish I had reached out to them sooner because the networking opportunities that I got later on were super helpful. I wish I had invested more time into that. I also made a lot of really good friends that I still keep in touch with after leaving the program. And in finding a job, they were like, "Hey, like, can I look over your resume? I can help you curate it to the experience that I've had and, give you some tips and tricks." I've also had my professors look over my resumes and help me prepare for job interviews. And um, if any of you have the pleasure of meeting Dr. Carter, he will tell you to download what's it called? There's this app where you talk back and forth, like he's like Snapchatting and like, hey, well, what are you up to? And things like that, where it's just super awesome to have such a good connection. I never felt lonely throughout my program, which was super awesome. Um, I think it's really important for time management to use your calendar. My favorite thing about the Canvas calendar is you can connect it to your Google Calendar. Because you go throughout your day, you work your 40 hours, and you're like, oh, I have an assignment. Um, so really important to use your calendar, use your resources, and carve out time every day to look at assignments, carve out a spot in your house to be, where you go and study. That was super helpful. As far as group work went, it was my favorite part of the program that my professors created opportunities for collaboration. Group projects in the past are always such like an eye roll where I'm like, I do not want to do that. But because I'm in this grad program with so many, like, in-service working professionals, it was honestly such a joy. Um, Something that I thought was super helpful is making group chats on GroupMe, and every week we had to meet weekly. I would send out a poll for the week, and everyone would answer so we could see what the best day was, and that worked out pretty well. Um, but yeah, take time in those meetings when you're working with your classmates to not just talk about the assignments, but talk about life, and you get to know each other better. And it honestly makes the online experience just a lot better. Um, I'm trying to think of what else has been so helpful. But yeah, truly
Mary,
professors.
anything you do differently looking
Anything I do
back?
differently? Um, Looking back, I definitely made this mistake in my first semester. I probably bit off a little more than I could chew without realizing. And I made it to about halfway into the semester before saying, like, I think I'm overwhelmed. I think, if you can, get your hands on the syllabus as soon as you can. Read through it, identify what your final exams are, what, kind of get a feel for the class. And if there's any part of your syllabus that does not make sense to you or that you're worried about, reach out to your professor right away. All of my professors that I've worked with, they know that work-life balance does not exist. It's not a real thing. And they are so understanding when you have questions and making accommodations of like, oh, of course, as long as you're willing to put in the work and that we can, communicate about this. I've never had a bad experience in asking for help. Just do it sooner rather than later. Also, like doing the same with your advisor if you're feeling concerned about classes, work-life balance, resources, literally anything, your advisor is your best friend because they can either help you right away or they can direct you to where you need to go. So if you are feeling overwhelmed or nervous about anything, ask questions. That's something I'm terrible at. So throughout my program, I got better at doing that. Something I wish I had done sooner.
Yeah.
Um, but
That's
yeah.
that's great advice. Ask early and ask often.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Stay in constant communication with as many people as possible. It really makes the online experience a lot better and future experiences better. But I'm really excited for everyone here to have hopefully a similar experience to me where it's just a wonderful time and I was ready to graduate, but I do miss it. I do miss it a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And if
Thank
you
you.
want to connect with Mary on LinkedIn, is that okay?
Oh, of course.
Yep. We'll start that journey tonight, that LinkedIn journey. Okay. We are almost done. I wanted to just share a quick message from our president, Mindy Benson. Mindy is an SUU alum and a Cedar City native. And Mindy is a special person. I think one thing that stands out about Mindy is she cares about people. She cares about every student, and that reflects her experience working at SUU and earning her degrees here as well. I wanted to share some of the things that she's highlighted with her administration. Increasing access and affordability. You might have seen that SUU was just rated #3 in the country for most affordable education. And also cultivating a culture of caring and student success. And that's something we're committed to carry out. That was my experience as a student here and now as an employee. First and foremost, you are a person. You are not a number. And that's what SUU has always been about. So we want to make sure you feel that from us. And hopefully one of our goals as a grad and online program is to make sure you feel part of the community. So we'll be doing certain things during your experience here that will hopefully bring you into the community. We also will be having a reception just for our grad and online students at graduation. So if you never get to campus, make sure you come to graduation because we want to see you in person and shake your hand and give you a hug and congratulate you. And it's going to come sooner than you think. So I think that's really what sets SUU apart and makes it a special place is that personal touch. Okay, just some scenes from our campus. And I just want to thank all of you who have participated, both incoming students and faculty and staff. We wish you the best. And please reach out and let us know how we can help you, either through your academic advisor, send me an email, send Dr. Hatch an email. He'll be able to answer any question you ever have about any subject. I'm joking. He knows a lot. And we just wish you well in your success, for your success in your journey as SUU students. So thank you for being with us tonight. And have a good evening and all the best in the next year or two as a graduate students. Any last minute questions? Thoughts? Okay. All right. We'll see you online and we'll see you at graduation. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.